Okay, so in this video, I'm going to cover the units of activity. This is still part of the depreciation expense and depreciation concept using units of activity. The fixed asset that we have is 100,000. The cost is 100,000. Salvage value is 10,000, right? So we did a straight line and we did declining balance. Now we want to know how much is the depreciation expense, let's say for the next 10 years using the units of activity. So now let's see. We correct ourselves right here. We're not going to be using the useful life anymore of 10 years. Okay? If I use the units of activity, that means the time is irrelevant. So what is important is the number of units. It's a units of activity that machine can produce, or the number of, let's say, we're talking about mileage, if we're talking about vehicles or trucks. You see that? So time is irrelevant. What is important? The units of activity. So how many units, for example, if I just want to put it in, just let's say define it, how many units that machine or this machine can produce before it gets to, let's say, a lot of maintenance expense, right? So by using, let's say, a number of units, we want to allocate the cost of 100,000 or $90,000 depreciable cost, right, to expense. So then how would I know how many units this machine can produce? They got to tell us. They got to let us know. So what I need here, I need 10 years information regarding the number of units this machine can produce, right? But the first thing I need the total of units, total of units. So why do I need that? If I have the total of units, I can use that number and divide the depreciable cost by this number to get the cost per unit. Okay, then I use that cost per unit and multiply it by the units every year to get the depreciation expense for that year. Okay, one more time. We're talking about units of activity. So I need to calculate the depreciable cost, which is salvage value, original cost minus salvage value. In this case, is 100,000 minus 10,000. That is 90,000. I have my 90,000 here, right? But I have to divide this one by total of units that this machine can produce. So let's say they told us this machine can produce eventually 200,000 of something. Okay, so I take my 90,000. And divide it by 200,000. I get 45 cents. So the cost per unit using this machine is 45 cents. Okay, now what kind of information do I need now in order to calculate the depreciation expense year one? All I need to know how many units this machine produced end of year one, during the year one, right? Let's say they told us this machine produced, let's say 20,000 of something. Okay, so just remember the 20,000 and 45 cents. We clean up the board and do the calculation here. So I have 20,000 units that cost me 45 cents per unit. That gives me 9,000. It is coincidence that depreciation is kind of a straight line number, right? So it's just a coincidence. Okay, let me check my calculation, $9,000. Okay, so I have my year one. Now, what is the journal entry? Debit depreciation expense, 9,000, and credit accumulated depreciation, 9,000. Okay. So how about year two? All I have to know here, year two, how many units produced by this machine? 30,000. Okay, so I take 30,000 times 45 cents. 30,000 times 45 cents is 13,500. Okay, so this is basically the third method that we use to allocate the cost of any fixed assets to expense. Okay, so let me know if you have any question. Again, the steps to do units of activity. First, calculate the depreciable cost, and then calculate the cost per unit, and get the number of units that the machine produced during each year, and multiply that total units every year by the cost per unit to calculate the depreciation expense for that particular year. Now, journal entry, debit depreciation expense, and credit accumulated depreciation.